What's up, Eric with EC's Garage. Today, I don't even know which video this is. I realized when I was editing them last night, I've got like a ton, or I thought I had a ton, but I was all calling them the same like episodes. So I have no idea which this is. We'll figure that out as we go. Anyway, we're just gonna move on, charge ahead. Today, we're doing the upper control arms. As you know, I'm working on the rear axles, you know, from the sway bar, the rear sway bar end link replacement, and something else I did. The breather, the differential breather. You know that my axle seals in the rear are leaking and I'm replacing those. I'm waiting for brake shoes. I am waiting for rear brake shoes from Rock Auto right now before I start that job and complete it. Right now the wheels are just staying on. So now I'm going to move on to the front upper control arms. As you know, I went off on a trail, flexed out pretty hard, dropped the tire. The brand new OEM ball joint that I put into the OEM arms dropped, rubbed against the spring, and tore. So now I got to replace those. And I decided to go with Long Travel, obviously, right? I'm not going to put something on and ruin them again. So Long Travel control arms. I looked at the Total Chaos, the Uniball. I looked at another one. The name just slipped my mind. It was another Uniball construction. There's a few of them out there. Decided, I looked at SPA. I also found JBA. And I decided to go with that. Good price, a lot cheaper than the Uniball, you know, Total Chaos and that. There was a couple of options that were over $1,000. Not something I want to do right now. Ball. That was really the deciding factor, is that these have semi-sealed, and you can replace all of these, and the semi-sealed thing from JBA. So, okay, here they are. I don't know how this got in here. Cool. Really nice handwritten note. I got a lot of emails from this dude and text messages, just giving me status of the order, which was really cool. Okay, some instructions on easy lube bushings. These are serviceable, which is cool. They have Zerk fittings on them. And bam, beautiful. Look at these. There's a Zerk fitting. There's the ball joint. And they also came with some instructions and hardware. Awesome. And these are going to be mounted with and aligned with like 4 degrees caster, I believe. All right. Nice. These are hot. All right, so first thing we're going to do, jack it up, pull off the tires. I guess I'll start on the passenger side, since I got a little more room right now. So I'll start on that, pull the tire off, undo the castle bolt here and the cotter pin, undo the ABS line, and because this once you undo this and these, this whole thing's just going to snap apart when you free the you know, this knuckle here, the, you know, the vertical piece from the upper control arm. Once you free this from here, bam, this is going to flop down because of the weight of the hub. And I'm going to take this bolt, this nut, slide that out the front, pull this off, and put the new ones on. I did this recently, as you know, because I got these ball joints in. I also replaced some other hardware back here. Yeah, anyway, I replaced some. I had this off recently, so hopefully it'll come off pretty easily. All right, let me get this off, and when I get down here, we'll pick up from there. Who that?
I haven't heard that one in a minute.
What?
Bitching.
Bitching.
Yeah.
All right, so impact gun, removing the wheel. Out of the way. All right, bam, getting this done. Tundra brakes, Rock Auto, slotted cross-drilled rotors. These are amazing. I said in the previous video, the Tundra brakes, if you haven't done it, do it. You will not regret it. All right, so we got this off. I'm gonna undo the castle nut, take this off, pound this out. No, first, undo the, first, I'm going to take this bolt off here for the ABS mount. Snap this out of here, snap this out of here. You want to take, basically here's the ABS sensor. It runs down to the back of the hub. You want to undo this from the knuckle all the way up, undo the zip ties, bend this out, pop that out, and that's it. Get it away from here. Otherwise, when you take this castle nut off and remove this bolt, pound this out, this is going to flap up, this is going to fly down, this whole thing's going to come down, it's going to yank this out. Now you got wiring job. All right, so right now I'm going to take this off. Like I said, undo this bolts, snap everything out of here, off of there, and we'll see you then. All right, so here we are. I got this off from here from the ABS sensor. This bracket connects to the steering knuckle here. Up here at the top, this 10 millimeter, all three of these bolts are 10 millimeter. Pull this off, this whole bracket comes off with the zip tie and the sensor. And then down here, sensor wire. Then down here you've got the sensor, same thing, 10 millimeter bolt. Pull this out of the hub. All right, be very careful with this. I'm gonna actually put it in a plastic bag and tie it up so this doesn't just sit out exposed. Next, I'm gonna undo these two bolts. No, next I'm gonna do then undo the castle nut here so I can take this tension off. Bam, let the steering knuckle drop. Here, I'll put a jack stand underneath it, and then I'll hit this bolt and nut here. Got my impact here, castle nut. Bam, done. I'm gonna bang this up, get this knuckle and ball joint free from here, let this hang on this jack stand that I've got sitting down here, and then I'm gonna work on this nut and bolt back here. All right, as you can see, I've got the fork in. I've been pound that in. Look, there's plenty of videos out there that show this, but get the fork in there, pound it in with a mallet, jack the whole assembly up a little bit, pound it right, then let the jack down and let the thing fall out on its own. I forgot to mention, remove the steel and you know, the brake line from the back of this knuckle right here. It's a 12 millimeter. Remove that first. You don't want this thing to fall, which it didn't. I've got the jack underneath it. I let it down slow. After I got this fork in to loosen everything up, destroyed the boot the rest of the way. It was already done because of the shocks, as you know. You're replacing this anyway. That's why you're taking this off. So don't worry about ruining it. So that's that. I'm going to let the jack come down, let this thing pop out of here, and work on that nut and bolt, and then pull this upper control arm off. All right, I've got the ball joint pressed out. I've got the brake line disconnected. I've got the ABS line disconnected. I happen to put all the bolts back into the holes where it came from, just to keep it organized where I can. I've got the ABS sensor bolt in the bag with the ABS sensor. Now this is a 19 millimeter, right? 19 bolt, nut, bolt. So these are on pretty tight. Unless if you don't have any sort of like the, you know, air guns or anything like that. Breaker bar. So put this in here like this, right? Make sure it's seated against the bolt right there. And then pry up. Bam, it is loose. That's how you get stubborn bolts off. PB Blaster also. Put that on, soak it. I could have done that had I just gotten out here and soaked earlier. I have used it for the ball joint. I just didn't think of this, but definitely soak all your bolts in PB Blaster. Overnight is best, but when all else fails, pry bar or just rig it with another wrench. All right, this bolt down here, as you can see, it's a tight space, just like anything working on cars, especially four-wheel drive. This end of the head of the bolt flares out, it tends to rub against the fender well right here. Just get a screwdriver in there, right? As you pry with the screwdriver coming in this way, the way I did it. Basically, I put a screwdriver down here like this, pried between the well and the bolt head, and I just sort of worked it out. And then once we got past the edge of the fender well here, easy. All right, so now get the rest of this out. Use both hands. I'm gonna pull from this side and this and push from that side. Little tip on getting that past that fender well. All right, so we got the old control arm out. Honestly, not a terrible job. Like I said, take your time and be patient. And it was actually pretty quick. I think I could get these done in an hour and a half. Came with some pretty cool hardware, some instructions, real simple. First part of it is done. We've already got the stock A-arm off. We're down here. First thing I'm gonna do now is get my snap ring pliers, and I'm going to remove the factory, some snap ring pliers and a screwdriver. All right, well, I'm gonna get this off here with the snap ring pliers, screwdriver, whatever else I need. I'm gonna get the snap ring off, get this ball joint out of the steering knuckle, and we'll be back. All right, now I'm gonna remove the ball joint from the steering knuckle. Now what you've got here, C-clamp tool with the cups. You can borrow these from most retail, like chain auto parts stores. You can, you know, they'll lend these out for free. As you see, I've got the knuckle faced out. I'm gonna use a impact wrench to get this going. Let's do this first. All right, hold this, and then all right, I'm gonna realign. All right, we are back. I got the old ball joint pressed out. Did it last night. I also got the new bottom half of this joint here, the new upper control arm. I got that pressed in. I'll show you what that looks like in the two pieces before we do the other side. But I got that pressed in. I got the C-clamp plugged into this, clamped on now. So what I'm gonna do next is bolt the control arm to the body now, to the car. And then I'm gonna bolt this down to that and put it all back together and get it aligned. All right, so first off, I'm gonna clean up a little bit of this grease that the old ball joints left, but I just wanted to show you I got this new ball joint pressed in. Pretty simple to do. The hardest part of this job so far was pressing out the old ball joint, and less hard would be pressing it back in. The rest is pretty straightforward and easy. All right, so here is that ball joint I was talking about. So this gets pressed up into the knuckle. This comes down on it, bolts from underneath. If you take these apart, screw the bolt back on so you don't lose stuff. All right, bam. So now back to this. I've got this control arm that I'm now putting on the passenger side. This is ready. The kit comes with this Moly grease, which I have, which I'm gonna use to grease the inside of all these bushings here. They recommend using the Moly. I've got the lithium stuff and I've got the Moly for the drive shaft. So bam, put a little bit here, put this back in the box so I don't get it on my driveway. So rub this here. All right, happy with that. And if these squeak ever, you can always re-grease them, which is cool. Now we're gonna get the inside. We're gonna hit all four sides of this. One more in here. Perfect. Good thing I've got more grease because this one packet is not going to be enough. Clean up after you're done. You do things with integrity, do it with patience. Your job will not only turn out better, but it will last. Don't shortcut stuff when you're working on a vehicle that you expect to get you off-road into remote areas, right, safely and reliably, especially something that was basically built pretty damn perfect from the beginning. I got this side. All right, after this, I'm gonna set this down, wipe down my gloves so I don't get grease everywhere. Do it without destroying the grease job I just did. JBA sent me two types of washers, this thick one and this thin one. The instructions provide a little bit of information on when and if to use these. 4 of these thin ones, 8 of these thick ones. I'm looking at pictures of the installation on their website. Seem to be these that they use for the most part. So I'm gonna see how these fit. If it's a snug fit and it's not too tight, but you know, there's no gaps, I'm gonna use these. So we got a choice. So I'm gonna film exactly how I'm gonna get this through so you see what I'm gonna do here is feed. You put the washer inside first. So you put you can't necessarily slide the washer to the head of the bolt and think you're gonna get it past the wheel well, so it's because it's not. So you have to put the washer down low. I'm gonna feed the bolt just here so I can hold it in place, because I'm doing this myself. That washer down there, this is shitty light, I don't know if you can see that, is gonna go on the outside of the bushing. So what I'm gonna do, get the control arm here. Since this part will be the hardest, set this bar here. I'm gonna pull this away. I'm gonna pull this bolt away. Now that I've got it kind of situated, I may have to remove this dust shield. I just need to get this bolt around to here. Bam, you see that? Kind of making a mess again. But, got my other washer here. Let's see if we can do this by myself. Feed this bolt. All right, here comes that bolt. I'm gonna take this, get this over the edge. I got it by myself, one-handed. All right, now if I were telling somebody to do this for the first time, I would tell them to just pull off this dust shield. I've got extra clips actually. These are old, they're brittle, and they probably will break. I've got a full bag of extra clips. I would have just taken these like mud shields off, knowing that I would have had a little bit more room there. But I weigh cost in terms of time, is what I'm trying to say. You know, if it would take me longer to pop all these out and then do it, than it would be to just like screw around for a minute and get it through, then I'm gonna take the path of like least time, not necessarily least resistance. All right, so now, as I feed this bolt through here, I'm gonna get this washer in place. You know, I'm gonna come to the top and slide that through. Keep that washer off my driveway so I don't get grease all over. All right, I'm coming to the top. Just gonna feed it through like this. So I see it come out the other end, there it is. A little bit of room for the washer. Put this back down here. And definitely would have more room with this mud shield removed. But I feel this button up against the washer. All right, here it comes. Go back to the top. See if I can get a hand down here. All right, so I'm gonna reach one hand up, one hand under, so I can grab the control arm. Ah, damn, got it. All right, so what I did was I reached one hand over, I got long arms, one hand under so I can move this around, get the bolt through. Another tip, leave all your stuff in one place. Like all my washers should just be on the step behind me, then I'd know where they're at. So last washer right here, I'm gonna feed this over. All right, let's do this real quick. No, we're not gonna do that. I'm just gonna reach through here. Give me some more room. There we go. Pop that back in. See? Bam! Control arm is on. Smooth. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm going to drop this ball joint here through the knuckle, tighten everything down on the control arm and the knuckle. Then I'm going to attach the ABS sensor, both zip tie it. There's no, there's a hole. Ah, nice, there is a mount in there for that, with that bolt, right, to bolt this bracket back on. So JBA does include a mount to put the stock bracket back on, so I'll feed this back up through here. All right, so I'll put this down, zip tie everything back, bolt it where, you know, where I have bolts, and then tighten everything down, grease it, and I'm done. And then we're on to the other side. All right, enough talking, here we go. All right, as you can see, I got the upper control arm in, bolted on. This is a 19 millimeter back here. This is a stock bolt, stock nut, 85 foot-pounds is what the JBA instructions are naming. You could double check that with the Toyota manual, but it's telling me 85 pound-feet. The ball joint, this is 45 pound-feet. Torque this to 45. You might have to use a 3/8 inch to grab this piece right here that they left you, and then this is a 22 millimeter, so you might have to start it with a 22 millimeter wrench. I just used channel locks because they were sitting next to me. It was fine. Held this, grab onto that, right, torque it until turn it rather, just until it gets started, right? So if you just turn it, if you try to torque it, this whole nut spins, all of this spins until the bolt gets started. So hold it with your 3/8 wrench, use your 22 or channel locks, whatever you got, get the bolt started, and then at a certain point, the nut will stay, or the bolt will stay, and the nut will spin. Torque it down to 45 pound-feet. That's done. Now what I'm gonna do is connect the ABS sensor here. This will work. The bolt's in the old control arm. Since I put it there, I know where it's at. I'll attach this back around here. I got one more that clips onto the steering knuckle here, and then we've got the ABS sensor to put on, and then we'll just go over everything. I think next step would be to grease. Make yourself a checklist from this if you like. So as far as the assembly goes, you know, pop in the new JBA ball joint into the steering knuckle, grease your bushings on the A-arm, get the washers in place, slide the bolt through, tighten this up. You can torque it down. I did. I didn't wait until the end. I figured I'd just do it since I had room. You might want to definitely remove these dust shields before you start this. It'll give you some more room, save you some frustration, and it doesn't take that long to put them back in or take them out. These clips, if they break, they are available. After that, tighten the ball joint down, and then get your ABS line back in place, get the ABS sensor back in place, and that is really it. Looking around here to see if there's anything else going on. Last thing before I put the wheel on, I'm gonna grease these joints, the two bushings and the ball joint with Moly. Now this doesn't seal all the way, I can feel a gap, and as this ball joint articulates, the rubber is gonna move around. So it's basically not airtight. It's semi-sealed, as you know from the beginning of this video and the documentation. When you buy this, it is a stainless steel ball joint in here. They are replaceable, they are wearable, they do replace. These are 20 pound-feet right here. You can make sure these are torqued down. They look good to me when I tried them. And that's it. Put the wheel on and moved on to the other side. All right, here we go. All right, here we are. I've got my ABS sensor wire back in place and just finishing the last bolt. Tight, good. So here, this bracket that connects to the brake line here, which the ABS sensor attaches to, and then the ABS sensor itself. Tip, now that I've actually done this myself, as you know, I always do one side at a time. That way I have the other side for reference in case I need to figure out where something went. No issues here, but I do want to point out that this bracket is really close to this, and you're going to be better off to tighten this down and mount it before you put this nut on. It's just going to save you some time. Not impossible. If you didn't, you can see the head's a little shiny. It's a 10 millimeter. I got it down tight just fine, but it would have been easier and more straightforward if I just had done it before I put this nut on, because as you can see, there's no space. Now what we're going to do here, we're going to grease all the fittings. We're going to grease all the fittings. We'll pop the caps off on this. Come on, man. Seriously, whole separate video. We're just going to take that off. I'm just going to pop those off for now. All right, this is the Moly gun. Scratched an M on it. Just like if you need two types of grease for anything, get two types of guns. I mean, two guns, you know, that way you don't waste grease every time you need to change a cartridge, specifically for the drive shaft. All right, so 1, 2, let's get good. These aren't very full pumps. Everything says 3 to 4 pumps. Those weren't very full, so I did a couple of extra. That always sucks. Bam. 1. Now these are full because I got pressure. 2, 3. All right, grease is shooting out the side. I'm gonna have to get a screwdriver. I'm just gonna get a towel. Let that hang for a second, which sucks. To get any grease that inevitably spills out, because it will. These things are messy. All right, we'll rest that here. We'll get this down here, try to pop this off. All right, got that off. The tricky thing about Zerk fittings is things don't always come off right. They don't come off easy. And when you do that, what I just did with the screwdriver, be careful because you don't want to snap the Zerk fitting off. That will suck. Now we got this one right here. Also, having proper tools to do this, a good bushing press, you know, a C-clamp, ball joint press, you're definitely gonna need one. Show up prepared. As I use a screwdriver to pry off a Zerk fitting. Just a little bit of force on these. You don't want to break anything. Oh, come on. All right. All right. I'm gonna wipe everything down. Come back for that, but for now, that's it. We're done. I got the 85 pound-feet, 20 pound-feet, which they come from the factory, but just check them. 45 pound-feet. Got my ABS line back on. That's it. My washers are in place on the other side. These are greased. The bushings inside, the ball joint, they're greased. And that's it. Nothing else disconnected, nothing else done. Time to put the tire on and go to the other side.